Welcome back, everyone, to the Profits for Sanity podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Caminata, CEO and founder of Grosso University. Today, I'm joined by a great friend of mine who's had a massive impact, not only in my personal life, but the lives of so many people in the home improvement industry. Shawn Feurer, the universal mindset disruptor and the creator of the Inner Blueprint. Shawn is without question the most powerful mindset coach in the home improvement industry. He has spoken at numerous Grosso University events. He's worked alongside of me in private boot camps with many of our clients, and he's helped transform the lives of clients in ways that I can't even begin to describe in the way they think, act, and ultimately perform. But here's the truth. The best sales training in the world will not work if the mindset is not right. And that's why I've made it a top priority to bring Shawn into as many of our trainings as humanly possible. Because when you change the way someone thinks, you change absolutely everything. So Shawn's philosophy is simple but powerful. Big vision, bold action, legendary results. And this episode, we're going to break down exactly what it takes to rewire your mindset, eliminate self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and step into a version of yourself that actually gets real results. So if you've ever felt stuck, inconsistent, or like you're capable of much more, but not fully tapping into it, this is a conversation for you. So Shawn Feurer, welcome to the Profits for Sanity podcast.
Dominic, thank you so
for
much,
being
man.
here. Absolutely.
Happy to be here. Happy to be at this amazing campus you've built. We just did a little presentation for some sales reps in training, learning the best process. But like you said, best process works to the level of the mindset of the person we're plugging in. So we do work on raising belief levels so we get better results with the process.
And I just got to tell you, if you're looking for a keynote speaker for any of your events, Shawn Feurer will absolutely knock it out of the park. So you just did a keynote presentation at Closers Camp. And this isn't a negative thing, but literally people were brought to tears because they're so damn moved and inspired by your message. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for giving me a platform to share part of my story and, most importantly, the tools and tricks I've learned. And it's emotional, right? As human beings, we get caught in the logical mind. We're out there working, trying. But how we're feeling is the most important part. And I'm glad today we had an opportunity to allow a few of the people in the room to feel what it feels like to be them and to get some emotion and to realize there's more waiting for us. I mean, that's the biggest thing is we forget how powerful we are. We forget how abundant we are, and we get caught up in the rat race of trying harder. And if you're trying hard and the results aren't matching your effort, that's when mindset, I think, comes in.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about on day one. I said, you have all been lied to, because the truth is you are all lions. You're all capable of anything, and you've been brainwashed and mind controlled to believe that you're all sheep.
It's time to listen up, closers. Before you go any further, you need to hear this. The Grosso University Sales Academy Masterclass is not just another training opportunity. This is the most in-demand, highest-rating sales training program in the history of the home improvement industry. Thousands of sales warriors just like you have gone through this life-changing program taught by our world-class head sales trainer, Daniel Coombsbury, and they are winning more and bigger because of it. If you're serious about dominating in sales, this is where you go to sharpen your edge. The best part is, it's 100% virtual and happens on the second Monday of every month, so there are absolutely zero excuses not to invest in your growth and development. Why don't you go ahead and hit the link in the description to learn more and lock in your spot and get ready to ignite the greatness within. On behalf of Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to farm sheep. It's not easy to farm lions.
Yes.
You don't see a lot of lion farms around here.
And again, why do we become sheep? Because we're programmed and patterned. 95% of us is subconscious, which loves efficiency. It loves safety. So when you see the sheep, most of them are in their mind. They don't know how their mind works, and their mind is telling them to follow along when part of them might be screaming, go a different way, man. There's a different path for you.
Yeah, so one of the things that we hear all the time is work harder, try harder, do more, right? Tough it out. Nobody cares, work harder. I see literally people walking around with hats that says nobody cares, work harder, right? And they're just grinding and grinding and grinding, but they always seem stuck. And you share a really inspirational story of your life that you kind of had this moment in your life. I'm 42 years old. I've been working my ass off, trying to do everything. So you mind sharing that journey in the home improvement space in your life? And what was that turning point when you realized, I got to do something different?
Yeah. And I want to share it at a high level, but really my story and anyone's story starts when we're born, right? And our subconscious mind is wide open. As a newborn baby in my mom's arms, my mind was wide open. It didn't have limiting beliefs. And for me as a child, I went through some challenging experiences. You know, my biological dad left a couple times before I was 5. Stepdad came in, did his best, and he taught me so many amazing things. He was a home improvement business owner, and he was a sales professional.
He's kind of an industry legend from the sound of it.
Yeah, no, he was an amazing salesperson, man of integrity. He taught me so many good things. But for me, going to my story, it started with my mind being programmed with a single mom, scarcity, emotional event of father leaving, start to question self and love. But even in spite of that, I did a good job, right? I was given a program. My stepdad came into my life. He dropped out of college to support me, my mom, and my sister. And as a young kid, I just remember him saying, Shawn, you know, I dropped out of college. I'm supporting our family. I'm running this business. You're going to college. And that was, I heard it often. And so I just took that, and it's a good thing to do, right? So I was told to go to college. Somehow society programmed me. It's a good idea to pick a career, to marry a pretty girl, to start a family. And I just did it, right? I took the program that was given to me, not realizing some of the limits that were within it. But fast forward, 20 years, I'm 40 years old. And in Inner Blueprint, we focus on 3 areas of life: better finances, better health and wellness, and better relationships. And at 42 years old, doing an assessment, my money had been good, but it kind of plateaued. My health and wellness, I didn't really look that good. I didn't feel that good. And my relationships, there were some real challenges inside of it. And when I look at the idea of trying harder, I couldn't have tried any harder. I literally couldn't. We were talking about those hats that say, nobody cares, try harder. Yeah. Well, for me, it was like, well, shit, I started working when I was 15 years old. I'm now 40 plus. I've been working hard my entire life. Long days, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, heading to the gym to take care of my body, heading to the office to take care of work. And repeating that for 20 years. There's literally no bullshit. I couldn't have worked harder. I literally, in my business, had worked as hard as I could. In my health and wellness, had worked as hard as I could. And in my loving relationships, I'd given them my all. I'd given them everything I had. And at 42 years old, long story short, my business, my financial life collapsed. My health and wellness, because of the stress of that financial collapse, doctors were telling me I should be on 3 different prescriptions for indigestion, couple antidepressants, telling me all these things are wrong with me. And thank God, and there's a need for medication, but I knew it was just the stress. I knew it was an internal thing. So I rejected that. And my relationships, my 20-year marriage to my high school sweetheart, because of the financial challenges, had put a lot of pressure. But just long story short, it wasn't working. So within a very short period, I found myself single, still sick, very broke, and all alone. And it was in those moments that I said, I got to try something different. There has to be a better way. I've used the best business practices. I've used the best sales. I've used the best fitness routines. I've been with relationship coaches. I know all this information. For some reason, I'm not implementing it and getting the results. And, one of my favorite quotes is, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And for me, it's like 40 years old, 20 plus years of effort, and these results don't match it. I knew I deserved more. So hard thing for all of you and listeners, the first step is take accountability, right? Like, I could have blamed a lot of people. I could have blamed the economy. I could have blamed my biological dad. I could have blamed my ex-wife. But the reality is, our results are either we create them or we allow them. And so I created a lot of it. I allowed a lot of it. I should have put up some boundaries in certain areas. So I just went to work. I looked in the mirror and said, Shawn, we're going to try something different. We're going to build something different. But the problem was, I didn't know what. I didn't know how. I literally had been through all these trainings. I had a college degree, and nowhere is what we're going to talk about today really taught. And I was very blessed. Your rock bottom, and we're all going to hit it at some point. Hopefully for listeners, it happens earlier in life, because to be like 40 plus years old, I felt like I was too old to start over. I'm like, it took me 20 years to get here. I lost it all. Gosh, but another 20 years, I'm gonna be 60 before I even get to a level of stability. I can't wait that long. So I was blessed to get in a room with a gentleman by the name of Bob Proctor. A lot of people know him from his appearance on The Secret movie back in 2006. But Bob Proctor was a student of the book Think and Grow Rich. We've got a copy right here.
Yeah, really?
I'd read the book for almost 20 years before I met Bob, but Bob just taught me some things about the mind, how it works, how it's programmed, how only 5% of us is conscious. And with that awareness, we can use our 5% to really identify what's blocking us, what's going on, and reprogram it. So I went to work. I became, the first 6 months of working with Bob, he, I think at the time, had 4,000 global consultants. I was top 20 in the first 6 months, stayed there until his passing a couple of years later. But I learned the material, I implemented it into my life, and it works so well. I'm like, everybody has to have this. Literally everybody deserves this information. So I started coaching it in my business, and the rest, they say, is history. But I will say, and I don't say this to brag, this is just a humble sharing of the results. In the last 10 years, it took me about 5 to find Bob's material and implement it. So really, the last 5 years, those 3 areas that I talk about, I was a 1 out of 10 in my money, a 1 out of 10 in my health and wellness, and a 1 out of 10 out of my relationships. And today, as we're recording this podcast, I have new 10s. I broke the scale. I have, my financial well-being is better than it's ever been. My business is successful. I've got investments again. I live in a beautiful home. I'm blessed to drive whatever vehicles I choose. This body, I'm 52 years old, prescription free. I'm probably the point I need to put some weight back on, but I'm the leanest I've ever been. I have so much energy when I wake up, and my beautiful relationships. I mean, I have better relationships, and it all started with me getting brought to a point that I had to go inside and say, I got to think some different thoughts. So that's really what we want to talk about today, is how, as an individual listening to this, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling frustrated, if you've been trying harder for a long time and you're not getting the result to match your effort, it might be a mindset issue. It might be something inside of your mind, a program, pattern, thought, and again, think about this, Dom. You know this, subconscious. It's like a submarine. You're not aware that it's there, and yet it's holding you back at some level. So that's the real work, is figuring out where are my, and for me, I use mindset as 2 words. Where is my mind set on money? Both what it is and what's a lot or a little. Where's my mind set on health and wellness? And most importantly, where's my mind set on me? Do I love myself? Do I have confidence? Do I trust myself? And that's the real work, is going inside and figuring out what that is.
Yeah, people have no idea how much is occurring underneath the surface outside of their conscious awareness, right? Yeah. So like, obviously, if something flies at your eye, you blink. Yes. Right? If your heart beating, your skin healing, a cut healing, do you control that? It's not like I can cut my face and go to the mirror and scream at it and tell it to heal. Like the body, the subconscious mind, you have things that work automatically, invisible forces that control these things, including your behavior.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, we're both bald. We shave our head. We do it the same time every way. If you think about the way you got ready this morning, I put my pants on left leg first, then right. I've played with it, 'cause I'm a mindset coach. If I try and do my right leg, it feels so weird.
You might fall over.
You might fall over. The way you drive your car, if you're going to somewhere you've been, you don't think about it. The body takes you. But the same process inside that's doing all these things on automatic is controlling what you think about time, money, relationships, and most importantly, about yourself. And so it's just becoming aware of that as the first step, starting to pay attention. What am I doing on repeat that I'm not thinking about?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about a few things, because most people in this country get their doctorate from Hollywood University, right? Yes. And people have to understand that, the programming can occur from obviously what you think, what you say, what you actually experience, and what you see on the screen, right? So the subconscious mind, obviously, as you preach all the time, cannot tell the difference between real experience, imagined thought, or what I'm seeing on the screen. And even your nervous system can't tell the difference either. So I read a study recently that the average 18-year-old kid sees 20,000 deaths on TV before they turn 18. 20,000 deaths. And people have to understand that your subconscious mind is tabulating that as a real death. And it actually impacts your nervous system. It desensitizes you to real life. So, and then I did another study. I'm like, okay, so what is the average timeline people are investing in things like, movie watching, TV, and social media, which is mindless entertainment, toxic. So 4.5 hours a day is the average in America between television watching and social media, right?
4.5 hours?
Every day, every single day, okay? So now you're getting programmed like you wouldn't believe. And then you're like, okay, what are the most repetitive content? And this is an exercise I want everyone watching this. Just kind of make this into like a game. Yeah. What's the most repetitive content I'm seeing in my environment? Like on TV, in the movies, right? I want to ask you the little trivia. What's the number 1 most repetitive content in all Hollywood movies? Think of a substance.
Sex?
No, it's up there, but it's coffee.
Violence? Coffee.
Coffee is the number one substance in all Hollywood movies. And here's what I'll challenge you. Watch the first 10 minutes of any Hollywood movie. You're going to see shitloads of coffee shoved down your throat, right? You're going to see coffee cups, coffee makers. You're going to see people with the Starbucks cups, like everywhere. Because they want you doing what? Drinking coffee. And then you got to ask, okay, what's the agenda here? Why am I being programmed to drink coffee? Well, if you do research on caffeine, it actually cuts your blood supply to your brain by 40%. And it actually makes you easier to program.
Wow.
Okay. So they want you all caffeinated. They want you all liquored up because it makes the programming easier, because a weaker, like taking a lion, turn into a sheep is easier to program now.
Yes.
But yeah, coffee, alcohol, killing, drugs, murder, sex, like all these things. Not the sex is bad, by the way, but
yeah,
I'm
but
just
the way
saying,
it's portrayed
like,
sometimes is definitely bad.
It's different, but
and sexualizing things that shouldn't be sexualized.
So you got to be really careful what you're allowing your subconscious mind. What you see is what you will be, right? What you allow yourself to be exposed to, because that literally is what we're talking about. Where does it come from? People wonder.
Yeah.
And you look around the world, it's not a very positive experience all around you. Like you got all these negative forces attacking you. Well, you got to be very intentional.
And a lot of times they use fear and anxiety to program us too, right? Because the mind will run away from something faster than it runs towards something. And if it's negative, the other thing too is, I love that example, Dom. I actually didn't know that, but you think about coffee, and then we start thinking about coffee, and we want to go drink
everyone's
coffee.
Like, I want. They have to have their. Where does that habit come from? Again, you weren't born as a newborn baby like craving coffee. Like, no. Where did that come from?
No, and in fact, let's go to that for a second, because for listeners to understand why advertisers, why media try to do that, they understand how the mind works, and they know that if they feed you the message over and over, your mind's going to grab it and hold it as truth. And like as a newborn baby, we didn't know about coffee. We didn't know anything to believe. Actually, we didn't even know what our name was. And so how does the mind get programmed? This is for listeners a takeaway. You get programmed one of two ways: hearing something or seeing something over and over, repetition of thought, or an emotional event. And the example I always use, we just used it with the sales reps. Neither one of us picked our names, right?
No. I love my name, though.
You love it, but it was given to you. And then how did you learn it?
Do you know what Dominic means?
No.
It means belonging to God.
Oh, I love it.
That's the definition of Dominic. I like that one.
I do like that. I do like that. Shawn has a religious tone back to John and worship and leading.
Yeah, it's cool.
But it was given to me. And so how did I learn it? I heard it over and over. I speak English. It's the only language I actually know. I didn't choose my name to be Shawn. I didn't choose my language. And yet I learned it by hearing it over and over. Wide open mind gets programmed. I'm Shawn, gets programmed. I speak English. And then it gets all the other beliefs programmed. What I think about time, money, relationships. Again, I was raised by a single mother for a little while. Didn't teach me good things about relationships. She's divorced. Dad left. She was broke. She was working multiple jobs trying to support us. Scarcity. So, when I had my fall apart, some of that was still in my mind, some of that scarcity, some of that, one of my number one fears, and I share this openly, when you get left as a young child, I didn't want people to leave. I was afraid of being alone. And so I created relationships in my life that were dependent on me doing things to keep people in my life. And the second I was unable to do things, my greatest fear came true. And that's when I went to work. And how do you go to work? Affirmation work, goal work. It's repetition. What are you feeding your mind? And again, if you're doom scrolling and watching TV for 4 hours a day, you're letting somebody else program your beliefs.
That's right. And that's the two choices. You can either be programmed or be the programmer.
Yeah.
And, Dan always says, your brain is basically, a multi-thousand or million-year meat computer. We don't really know how long we've been around, but it is very programmable, but you do have the choice to program yourself. Now, if you allow just the outside world to do the programming, then you're going to completely lose control of your behavior, right? But you can actually change your action behavior. And I love what you're saying is, when you start taking control of that programming, now you're making that 95% work for you and it's pushing you in the right direction.
Yeah. Who's in control? Because for most of us, I wasn't in control. 5% of me was trying to build a beautiful life. 95% of me was holding me back. And so I've taken control, and on a daily basis, I choose what I see. You're probably the same way, Dom. My YouTube channel, it's all information about the mind, how it works, visualization techniques, breath work, and I travel a lot, so I'm feeding my mind. I don't watch TV unless it's my favorite sports team. I don't know
anyone has time for that.
I don't either. I don't have time for that.
I don't want to have time for that. I would rather do something else.
Too many beautiful things in my life that I want to enjoy rather than sit around and watch the boob tube.
I want to get your take on this. So, because I like to simplify things in my mind. It just helps. So I started thinking of the subconscious mind as like an 800-pound gorilla. Okay, and this sounds kind of ridiculous, but so imagine there's an 800-pound gorilla, obviously very powerful animal, right? Yes. If it wanted to grab you by the neck and drag you somewhere, you're not going to fight it.
No,
okay?
You might try, but you're not going to win.
The good news is this gorilla is only going to do what it's programmed to do, right? So, and it's programmed based on the repetitive content that you expose it to. So if I expose this gorilla to repetitive content of the things we're talking about before, or let's say like despair or poverty and misery, it's literally going to grab you by the neck and drag you down the road of poverty and misery. No matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you scratch and claw and kick and fight, it's just going to drag your ass that way. Yeah. However, if I program and expose it to repetitive content, obviously you can't do exclusively, but more often than not, like intentionally program that gorilla to drag my ass down the road of abundance and prosperity, it's going to do that as well.
Yes.
And you have to decide which direction do I want this to drag me, because that's how powerful the subconscious mind is, right? I think of it as like this very powerful thing, but it only does what it's programmed to do, right? Mm-hmm. And you're the one that can control that consciously, but you have to make up your mind.
It's
like
a conscious decision.
Yeah,
well, the other thing too is that gorilla, part of the subconscious is the unconscious, and in it is the fight or flight. We can't override that. So if you don't give it programming, it's going to take all the bullshit programming, and then it's going to try and keep you efficient and safe. So we're all wired to go to the negative a little bit. And that's a natural built-in protection of the mind to keep us safe. But the problem is it doesn't just keep you safe. It keeps you in a comfort zone that if right now you look at your life and you're not getting the results, your mind's trying to keep you there because it's safe. You know, and I say this tenderly, but in like domestic violence situations, you'll have an individual in a relationship where they're literally physically unsafe, but they're so conditioned and programmed, they create a trauma bond. And the thought of living and gaining freedom, because there's so many unknowns.
Yeah, still familiar.
That's scarier than the familiar.
And they know what they're getting, even if it's abuse.
Yes, yes, and they can at least prepare for that, where if I leave and now I don't know where my next meal's coming from, I don't know where my shelter, that unknown becomes scarier than the known. And that's the most challenging part of this work. Sometimes I wake up and I wish I didn't know so much, right? Because I understand, and even when I'm taking myself down a negative rabbit hole, it's like, and sometimes you'll have that. The mind will put up a protection and you're like, I'm safe right now. Why is it going to this crazy thought about something that's never going to happen? Well, the reason it's doing it is it's trying to keep me safe. And in the past, I have had danger. In the past, I have had good situations that weren't good for me. And the mind doesn't go forward. It automatically goes backward, finds something similar, and then starts chirping at you, fight, flight, freeze, do something to keep yourself safe. And in reality, we have I don't even know how old the mind is, 40,000 years, something like that. And it hasn't evolved that much. We really haven't in a mindset. So my mind is programmed to run from tigers and have to scrap for food and shelter. And it lives in a world that a text message from an employee can feel like a tiger. And then the fighter, and it's like, whoa, time out.
Especially in sales, sales reps are constantly in a state of fight or flight, right?
The customer says one thing and blows up their whole presentation because they just got in their head. And not consciously, it was subconscious. I mean, that feeling that comes up inside when the homeowner says, how much? Are you a criminal? And then you're thinking, what did I do wrong? And then at a subconscious level, it's like, and then second you give into that, you're toast. You're cooked.
And we just have to understand that it's not because there's anything wrong with anybody or subconscious mind's a defect. It's because it loves you and it's trying to keep you safe, right?
Yes.
And obviously it's trying to protect you, but anything unfamiliar or unknown is considered danger, right? The fear of the unknown. And this is why it tabulates the most repetitive content in the environment and tries to adopt your behaviors accordingly because there's safety in what the greater herd is thinking, saying, or doing, right? So that's why it tries to adopt those average behaviors as your behavior.
And the other thing too is safety is part of survival, but so is efficiency. And if you think about that, the reason the mind likes to do the same things over and over is it's efficient. Like if it can get you to do something with the minimum energy, and you think about prehistoric man and even pioneer man, there wasn't a plentiful food supply. So they had to be careful exerting energy and save it. And so at some level, our mind is always trying to keep us the most efficient path. Well, the most efficient path isn't always the most profitable path. I mean, if you're doing the path of least resistance and staying inside of a bubble, you're minimizing your results. Yeah, you're minimizing your energy and maybe some of your effort, but that's where, doing something different. I tell people, take a different drive to work, go on a different vacation, move, get a new house, get a different location.
Even doing things with your left hand if you're right-handed.
Yes.
Yes. I noticed Like I play the piano a little bit. I'm not like an expert, but
you're pretty good.
Yeah, I can play some stuff. I can definitely put on like a little mini performance for people. But it's crazy. The thing I love about the piano is you can't consciously play the piano. It's impossible.
It's a muscle memory.
You have to learn it at an unconscious level. But in the beginning, it's so uncomfortable. My fingers are not going where they're wanting to go. And I'm like, keep messing up. And then fast forward like a month later, so like if I'm learning a really difficult piece, then that's all of a sudden I can like close my eyes and play the damn song. It's crazy. I wanted to share, so my wife and I right now are training for a full marathon.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And we're going to hopefully come on visit you in Utah when we're there. It's literally in Utah, so we got to figure that out. Well, we went on a 16-mile run the other day, and that's the furthest I've ever ran in my life. So which means it's unfamiliar.
Yes.
Which means my subconscious mind is going to fight me tooth and nail.
Yeah, it's telling you you're not safe. You're doing some
the
crazy
whole
shit.
time. I'm not even kidding. The whole time. Especially after I got beyond my limit, like, because I've done half marathons before. Like, I've run 10 miles many times. But when I got to like 12, 13 miles and I knew I had 3 miles left, it kept telling me, stop, take a break, rest. You're going to die. Like, take it easy. Like, think. And then I started feeling my knees are like, yeah, you don't want to hurt your knees. Like, all these different voices in my head. Like,
I think those are all trying to keep you safe.
A million excuses telling me to stop and take a break because it's like, if you push any further, something's going to go wrong. And then thankfully I was able to overcome that. I'm like, you can do this. You get to do this. Like you said, I get to do this. And I pushed through and everything was fine. Like, I was actually surprised how good I felt.
Yeah,
but
the accomplishment itself felt amazing after you did it, right?
Exactly. I had to fight that voice the whole time, though. But now, again, we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure the next time I do that, not that I won't have that pop up, but it's probably going to be a little quieter, you know? Mm-hmm. And then eventually get to the point where now I get to do this and then just push through. But I just want to get your take on that because that's an example of what happens everything, you know.
Well, it's funny. And you know, I had some early recordings that I used to listen to of Napoleon Hill, and he would talk about his subconscious mind, and he nicknamed him Sub. And he talked about his subconscious chirping, and he would just literally auto-suggest to his subconscious, hey, Sub, thanks for the warning, shut up. And the analogy I use, and it's powerful for me, almost every vehicle I drive has those built-in sensors, right? And I think of my truck, it's in my third car garage, my driveway's straight, I pull in straight every day, I back out straight. Pretty tight clearance on either side. So every morning when I start it up, open the garage, guess what the truck starts doing? Beeping.
Oh yeah, warning.
And it's going to what it knows to keep me safe from. There's something within, I think, 8 inches of my bumper, 2 inches clearance on each side. So that truck beeps the entire time. Danger, Shawn, danger. Mm-hmm. Now I back out straight. I don't turn. I'm looking in the mirrors. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. But the whole time my truck is chirping, be careful, be careful. And for me, there's a mute button, right? I don't mute it because to me, it's my daily reminder. My mind does that all day, every day. I get in a situation, then the mind goes, oh, in the past, Shawn made a fool of himself or Shawn did something stupid here. We don't want him to do that again because it didn't result in him being safe. He got in an uncomfortable position. And so it starts chirping. And for me, it's just the awareness, you know, thinking about thinking is the highest level of intelligence. It's called metacognition. Most people don't think about thinking. They just caught in the thought. So the thought comes up to be afraid or to be cautious. For me, that's a warning. Like, okay, why is my heart rate racing? Why am I getting nervous? What? And I always call it the danger check. Fear isn't real. Danger is. Mind goes to fear to keep you from danger. But what it identifies as danger, most of the time, isn't dangerous. It's something from the past. It's something somebody else dealt with. So for me, whenever that triggers off, I thank my subconscious. I'm like, thanks for the warning. And then I say, is what it's warning me from, is there any danger there? And the world we live on, most of us, we don't deal with danger. We deal with uncomfortable. We deal with change. We deal with different. But if there's no danger there and moving through that uncomfortableness will bring you more of what you want, that's learning. We call it the fear firewall. Like this fear firewall just popped up. It's an imaginary wall my mind puts up to try to keep me in my comfort zone. Just punch through it. I mean, it's not that easy, but it can be that easy.
Right. No, it's really, really powerful. And I remember, I forget what year it was, you're at the closers camp. We did the walk the plank simulation. Yes. Yeah. So just kind of talk about that. Cause
because the mind can't tell the difference. Like,
yeah. So you had people volunteer, like raise your hand if you're afraid of heights. Right. And then got a couple people volunteer that came up. I call it the closers plank, but we made this little walk the plank. They put the Oculus on and
before we did, we told them like,
Yeah, it's not real.
It's a wood plank.
Yeah.
It's on the floor.
Yeah.
You're going to be walking across it. You're going to have a virtual headset that's going to make you think but you're not. So your conscious mind knows you're safe. It's crazy. You put that, I mean, the first lady, she was like shaking, didn't dare. And think about that. That's where when we say the mind will believe whatever you feed it. So you put on a virtual reality simulator and feed the mind that you're up high. There's no wind. There's no other sensor other than just seeing it.
It's funny you said that because I was thinking about adding the fan. Like as soon as they put it on, we'd flick the fan on.
Oh, that just would have intensified the mind, because the mind's looking at that saying, okay.
Like, oh my gosh.
Literally, the plank is on the ground. There's nowhere to even fall to, but the mind sees a visual of a 10-story building with the plank out, and you've got a helicopter coming by, and the mind, they can't reject it. It says, this is real. You shouldn't walk. And that's how think about that. Like a virtual reality. It's not real. And the mind says, you're not safe. Don't walk. You're going to fall off a plank. Right. Yeah. And you know it's not true. And yet, I mean, I've done that with a lot of people. Half the people won't move. Half the people won't do it.
And then one guy tried to jump off the plank for some reason. He like took a digger, like fell on his knees.
Like he was going to fall and there was nowhere to fall. So he hit the ground and fell because there was nowhere to fall.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of tie this into sales a little bit because, one experience I had, and, it's a little subject change, but it's all relative to mindset and belief, right?
Yes.
Because belief is everything in sales and life and everything. I would have classes of 8 people. We're training a class of about 60 people right now. And I already know that some of these people will take this material and they'll go out and crush it. But then there's a good percentage of people that will take this material and do nothing, right? And stay the same, right? Can you explain like why that happens? Like, how is it that 2 salespeople can go through the exact same training together with the same system, same experience, everything, same opportunity, and go out there and have completely polar opposite results?
This is what brought me to mindset. And this is no knock on process, because Dom and Grosso has the best sales process. But when I was a business coach for a little while, I was coaching 70 companies, so 70 business owners, hundreds of sales reps. The company I worked for had a really good business plan. You would put but I'm watching these guys, they have the best process, the sales reps. I used to train a training similar to what we're doing here. I'd have 5 reps for a company come in, they'd all learn the same process. They'd go back, 1 would become a rock star, 3 would stay the same, and 1 would get fired. And this is what got me going to what causes that? Because the process works every time. If you do the process, some people won't even do the process after they learn it, right?
Don't.
So the block is what's in their 95%. Some of the guys right now learning that process as you're teaching it, their limiting beliefs are saying, I'm not the type of person that could say that. I don't like talking about money. I don't want to ask the homeowner that question. And again, 5% of them is all in. They're in the room. They want to learn it. But as they're learning it, every single person in that room is going through the filter of their 95%, and their beliefs about everything are filtering the message and then deciding at a subconscious level which parts they're going to, because you have guys all the time, they'll handle the opening really good, but they don't like the company's story. And most reps hate objections. They have an internal resistance. That's a cheesy salesman. That's high pressure. No, it's not, but you have a story in your mind that's telling you that. So
most reps fear objections, even though objection is...
That's where the gold is.
Yeah, that's where the goal. But so the fear is actually of rejection, right?
Yes.
And objections are not rejection, right? So most of the time, objections are just smoke screens for uncertainty, just a reflex response. The homeowner couldn't even get any legitimate reason why they feel that way. Rejection is like, no, get the F out of my house. But most sales reps don't give up after a no. They give up over objections, right? But subconsciously, objections feel the same as being rejected. And rejection is one of the biggest fears ingrained in all human beings, right?
It's an internal fear.
They avoid it like the plague. So that's why most salespeople handle less than 1 objection. Less than 1. That's the average. And most consumers buy after 4 objections. Yeah. So I say, if you can go for the no with relaxed assertive confidence at 3rd, 4th, 5th time, you tap into the vast ocean of opportunity where most people buy. But to do that, you have to be able to go long-headed into things that human beings fear the most.
And the biggest thing, too, is they fear change. Like a lot of these reps have a system they've been doing. So they're hearing this, and consciously they're saying, oh, it sounds good, but then part of their 95% saying, I don't do it that way. And my way. And the funny thing is the way they're doing it has got them limited results. They've got a new process that will could double their income. They'd rather stay doing it the same way even as they're all raising their hands saying they want to make more money. To me, it's the hardest part of my work is getting people open to the idea that this exists, that I have two minds. You know, you talked about, and we had a pretty good turnout, but yesterday before the end of class, we asked who was interested in doing a workout this morning here at the facility. And a bunch of hands went up. That was the conscious mind. Yes, I want to do that. This morning, there was a different number of people who showed up than raised their hand. That's the 95%. The people that their internal subconscious mind committed to that or is willing to do it or is used to doing it showed up. The people that raised their hands last night and their subconscious told them to just sleep in or stay home, that's the difference. We have two minds. 5% of you is aware. It's a very small percentage. 95% of you is subconsciously programmed to keep you efficient and safe at whatever levels you were programmed. You know, the other thing, I mean, I asked who in the room wants to make more money, and they all raised their hand. And I started asking how much.
All over the board.
First was hesitation, though.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted to share. They had some insecurities.
Yeah.
That's a paradigm right there. Like, you got a mindset coach is going to help you make more money, and I just asked you how much, and you don't even want to tell me how much. And then they started, and the amounts were all over the range, you know, from 100,000 to 800,000 and everywhere in between. And so that tells me that Dom's giving them a system. Each one of them is going to get a result similar to what they think is possible. Same process, same type of customers, different mindset we're plugging in.
Yeah, that's their self-image right there. That's basically their set point, like you said.
No, we have two minds. Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, the author, was one of the first individuals to identify. We have two self-images. One we see in the mirror and one we hold in our mind. And that's a whole other rabbit hole. But, you know, to me, it's sad. You look at body dysmorphia. You know, there are people that look good that don't think. There's people that are beautiful that think they're ugly. And it's not true. It's not real. It was programmed into them by a bully, an idiot, somebody telling them sometime something in a powerful, emotional way that the mind grabbed it.
Yeah. Well, you see that in Hollywood too, right? Where there's some beautiful people that all of a sudden just start hacking themselves up and getting all this procedures done. And then they turn into this like, you look better before. Like,
and the weird thing is most of them actually think, we look at them and say, oh my God, that's hideous. But their dysmorphia in their mind, they don't see what we see. They see what their mind wants to see. It's
actually what he talked about in Psycho-Cybernetics a lot, right? Is sometimes he would have someone come in with, let's say they actually did have some feature or something that was unusual, that maybe some insecurity or some physical impairment or some blemish on their face. They wanted to get some plastic surgery, hypothetically, because he was a world-class plastic surgeon. Occasionally he would eliminate that, fix it, and they would still walk around with it like a phantom limb, like with that even though it was gone. Because sometimes he would perform plastic surgery and turn them into completely different people. But a lot of times it didn't do anything to their self-image.
And the difference was on the people that it makes a difference, their inside image was still good.
Right. They
just knew that they had this physical deformity or something that had happened. But a lot of people, the emotional wound was so deep that their internal image was that. I mean, I've seen a study where it was beautiful women they were doing interviews with. And each one of them, they sat them down with a makeup artist and said, we're going to make a deformity on your face. So the one lady, they said they were going to put a wart. The one lady, they made her nose look jacked up. And they did it on all of them. And then they had them do the interview. And then after, they asked them questions about the interviewer. Was the interviewer thrown off by your look? Mm-hmm. Yes, he kept looking at my face. I knew he was staring at it. Every woman had the experience that the interviewer was, guess what? They didn't do anything to their face. They just told them. And so these women thinking they had things put on their face, thought a person reacted to them, and it wasn't real. Again, the mind plays tricks on us. It takes what you give it. Yeah. I'm going to deform your face. No, nothing done, just some makeup put on. In fact, if anything, they looked better.
Yeah.
And because they thought they had a deformity, their confidence went down. They started thinking somebody was noticing something about them that wasn't even there. It's powerful stuff when you can gain. Please, this might be an episode to listen to a couple times and just understand as we're talking that 5% of you is hearing it. 95% of you is filtering it through your program pattern beliefs. And just like your name or your language, you didn't choose it. It was given to you. And for a lot of us, if it was given to me, number one, it's not mine. It was given to me. And like our names, we both love our names, right? Thanks for the gift. But some of the things my mom gave me, God bless her, were being hypercritical about myself, not trusting myself. I don't want that. That was yours. You had that. It didn't serve you well. I'm sure as hell not going to run the rest of my life running around with a program that was given to me that's not bringing me peace, joy, and happiness.
So obviously all this kind of ties into doing the inner work, right?
Yeah.
So you have this amazing program called the Inner Blueprint, right? Yes. So what exactly is the Inner Blueprint, and how have you seen this completely change someone's life?
Yeah. So the program I created, it was based on, my study with Bob Proctor, who spent 50 years studying Think and Grow Rich, my work with Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul author, the success principles. I took all this good information and then we put it into the format that the brain responds to. Repetition of thought. So Inner Blueprint is 12 modules. Each module is designed, starting with module 1, what do you want? Thinking bigger. Module 8, what do you believe? To a new belief. And we use the principles the way the mind responds, repetition. So we spend 1 week on each module, and then for each participant, and we do it in mastermind groups, so you get a lot of support, a lot of accountability, 30 minutes a day, creating a 30-minute ritual where you're doing 15 minutes of the good material. The reason behind it, interrupt the program thinking. Get the mind to open up. 5 minutes, and we do a lot of work on a powerful goal statement, which is what you want: more income, happier body, better relationships. 5 minutes of auto-suggesting, telling the mind it'll accept anything, telling it what we really want, even if we don't know how it's possible. It can be a big, ridiculous goal. 5 minutes of affirmation work, remembering whatever we need to remember. I am powerful. I'm enough. I'm assertive. I'm happy and healthy, whatever it is. And then 5 minutes of gratitude. And that's really the proven process of Inner Blueprint, is take good material, listen to it on repeat to expand the mind. It's less than 15 minutes a day. That's like 1% of your day. The 15 minutes of affirmation and goal and gratitude. And it's crazy, Dom. We're sharing this right now. Of you listening, statistically, less than 5% of you will do anything with this information because your programmed mind wants to stay patterned and stuck. So, it really is. And again, you talked about it a little bit. The impact we've had on people's lives. I've helped hundreds, going on thousands of people. My hope is to get to millions of people making more money than they ever thought possible, in happier, healthier bodies than they ever thought possible, and having the best love and connection in their lives. And they're not trying any harder. If anything, you don't try as hard. You work more intentionally on the 30 minutes and on the most important part of you, your mind, what you believe. And then the results from the effort get exponentially amplified. And that's what I've seen in my own personal life. You've seen it in your life. And we've now got so many individuals. So yeah, that's the work. That's the Inner Blueprint.
That's amazing. And I have a lot of clients of mine and people I'm really, really close to, people I have mad respect for that have been loyal clients of yours. Forever, ever since I've known you.
That's the cool thing, is once people get success with my program, it's my built-in retention. Yeah. They stay with me because it's hard to do this by yourself. It really is. If you're listening to this, we have at communities where we put you in mastermind with sales reps. They're all home improvement, with business owners, both men and women. We have a women owners group, a men, and then we have leaders group for your operational leaders in your company. And they come together in community. They get support. They get good material. And we hold them accountable to do the work. We call it the work. 30 minutes a day to, what's the theme of this Closers Camp?
Ignite the greatness within.
Ignite the greatness within. And your mind is the biggest thing holding you back. It is. At the end of the day, the truth they don't tell us is we want to blame it on the world. We want to blame it on our parents, on the economy, on the weather, on the customer. But the truth is, it's up to you. And you can create way more than you think possible if you tap into something like Inner Blueprint.
So when people come to you, what would you say is some of the most common reoccurring self-limiting beliefs, or one self-limiting belief you see especially prevalent when people come to you that really holds them back?
There's two that really hold people back. The first one is about self. And most people have zero awareness of this, honestly, because when I started doing this, even though I was so beat up, I still thought I had some confidence. But every single person I've ever worked with at some level has not enoughness. And think about it. If you ever have the thought that there's not enough time, not enough you, and not enough money, there's not enoughness. So that's a huge one. And the affirmations, if you want, take this. I promise any of you listening, this will help you. Every single day I say, I'm enough, I'm always enough, and I've always been enough. That's a commonality. If I have a group, and I've had this groups write a list of their limiting beliefs, and like spaghetti, we throw them on the wall. That's one common one, is enoughness. The other one that's a universal block for people is worthiness. I have people that have worked their asses off, accumulated a lot of wealth, and at some level they say, Shawn, I just don't feel like I deserve it. And it's crazy. I'm like, have you seen the amount of people you've helped with what you've built, the employees, the customers? But it's a universal one, not being worthy. I'm worthy. And then the second one that holds most people back is just money. Two beliefs, what it is. We all have some limits of what it is. We're all told, for me, I was told it was the root of all evil. It doesn't grow on trees. It's hard to come by. None of that is true.
Well, you can fit a camel through the eye of a needle before you can get a rich man into heaven or something like that.
Yeah, and I still haven't broke that fully down, but that's not true.
Yeah.
To me, in a spiritual and even somewhat religious way.
Well, and tying back to Hollywood University, if you look at most movies, they portray the rich, wealthy person as the bad guy, the evil, right? And then the guy that is living in poverty, that's like noble, and that's like the person with morals and integrity.
Well, and
that's the hero in the story.
But my hero, my Heavenly Father, in His kingdom, He's not a pauper. He's a wealth of knowledge, of love. I mean, He's wealthy. And so for me, in a spiritual way, I am worthy because I'm deserving of God's wealth. I'm a steward of His wealth. And why am I a steward? I'm not lucky. You're all a steward. But I do good with it. I mean, I came here today to help people, right? In my personal life, I donate. I give my time. I give my energy. And the one thing I found that's crazy is when I become a worthy steward of the wealth, I get more of it. I mean, I've seen more wealth come into my life in health, in happiness. We're not talking about money here. We're talking about a wealthy, happy life. But yeah, and then the second thing on money is just numbers. We heard it in there. Everybody has a set point about how much money they deserve and how much is a lot. And I work with people on coming up with bigger numbers. And how do you create a bigger number in your mind? For you listening, think of the most you've ever made, double it, divide it by 12. That's your new monthly. So if the most you've ever made is 100, double it to 200, divide it by 12, come up with a sticky number. I'm so happy and grateful I make $19,670.37 every single month. And mind won't reject it. I say it. All of a sudden the mind believes it. And this is a crazy thing. Once the mind believes it, it's going to look at your bank account and say, wait a second, we make 20 grand a month and I don't see 20 grand a month. And literally your 95% starts to push you to take more action, push you to take the right actions. And that's where we see people's income skyrocket, is when the belief comes inside.
I want to get your take on this too, because obviously we're talking about like individual programming, but programming large groups of consciousness to go in the same direction. So
it's cultural paradigms.
One thing I used to do at Mad City when I was a sales leader, because we had our annual awards dinner, right? And we would recognize performance. Let's say from 2018 we did 50 million. And now the new goal is 80 million, right? So I'm a firm believer that whatever you want to become, you need to start walking, talking, acting, and behaving as if you already are that person, right? Yes. So what I would do is I would say, congrats on the 50 million, but I got some news for you. You're not a $50 million company. Beginning today, everyone in this room is going to start walking, talking, acting, behaving as if they're an $80 million company. So here's what I want everyone to do. Every conversation you have from now on with anyone, whether it be your customer, your family, your spouse, your friends, you're going to tell them you work for an $80 million company, right? You're going to tell yourself, I work for an $80 million company. And when everyone is preaching that and talking about it and obviously programming themselves to believe it, that we are, because it's not like December 25th on Christmas morning, you wake up with a massive windfall of tens of millions of dollars worth of sales. You have to become that $80 million company now if you're ever going to get there by the end of the year, right?
Yes.
But we always hit it because it's like that programming took place day one. Right, but I was kind of using these strategies as the sales.
You were practicing inner blueprint at a high level, and we've talked about a lot of the things you do. You're an unconscious component where you just got programmed. Your mom, we've talked about the good programming she gave you on success, but I've seen that because the problem is, you tell the team $80 million. The one rep, he sells $2 million. In his head, he's thinking $3 million. He's thinking of how he's going to do it, which is going to be running more leads, more work, more effort. The whole collective energy is, we're not going to do that, right? So we always say in mindset, forget about the how. I don't care how it happens.
Exactly.
And I would have taken that a step further.
And even, focus on the how. We're just going to talk about it with everyone. Yes. And we're going to start, preaching it and teaching it.
And if I was an individual rep in that, I'm like, we're going up 30 million this year. I did 2 million. I better do 4 this year. And forget about the how. I don't want to work harder. I don't want to run more appointments. I want to be more efficient. I want to create better situations with every prospect. And I do that by telling myself in my mind, I've doubled my goal, and then I'm going to jump into the fact that the company's growing their goal. And whatever you believe, you'll conceive. And you get to believe by saying it. Like you said, you created the culture of, we are an $80 million company. And you've worked with some of my companies that have also worked with you on sales training, that they're gone from $5 million a year companies to $5 million a month companies. And yes, they've changed process, and yes, they've done the work, but they've also worked on their mindset.
Yeah, and really what I was doing is a sales strategy that we train, and a lot of my leadership tactics I would use were sales strategies. So like seeding and layering. So how do you reprogram your prospect's belief system? Well, you plant a thought in the prospect's mind, and through constant reinforcement, repetition, you allow that thought to nurture and grow into belief. So I would do that with salespeople all the time at interviews. I'd sit down with them because I already knew that in their previous line of work, they had on their resume, they were like a $1.5 million producer. For me, I need this sales rep to believe today that they're a $3 million producer, right? So I would let them know in the interview, sounds like you had a impressive career. You've done $1.5 million. I just want to let you know the pace horses we have here, every time I see a $1.5 million producer come into this company, they double their performance for their previous life, right? So if you're a $1.5 million producer, you're now a $3 million producer. You're a $300,000 a year plus income earner today if you're a part of this team, because you run proportionate to the pace horse, right?
And the crazy thing is you weeded a lot of people out with that conversation, right?
Exactly.
They would say, I don't know how that's possible.
And it's crazy because that was Dan Coombsbury's story. He was a $1.5 million producer, and the first year under my leadership, and a lot of it was just the culture and all the things we're talking about, he did over $3 million. He's like, I never in my wildest dreams, and then I would repeat it over and over throughout the sales training, right? Multiple six figures, $3 million plus. And by the time I was done, you could barely find any rep on my team that was under 2 million. 3 million was like average, and then there's $4 and $5 million reps is crazy.
Well, and again, I mean, we talk about, we have our 95%, which is our set points, right? Yeah. Team culture has a set point. You know, there are companies that the set point is $2 million, and you don't see any reps. And then you have other companies that you have reps hitting 800,000, $1 million, and all of a sudden it's like the 4-minute mile, right? It was impossible until somebody did it. And that's the idea. And you don't break it in the physical numbers first. You break it in the mindset of the team.
You know, hear about something crazy. So obviously, as I said earlier, my wife and I are training for a full marathon. So I was just for giggles, I was researching the fastest full marathon ever. And it was 1 hour and 59 minutes. That's basically someone running 13 and a half miles an hour for 26.2 miles straight. Yeah. So for anyone watching this, go on a treadmill. Don't do this, by the way, but okay, just off the treadmill, turn it to 13 and a half miles an hour. See how fast that treadmill's moving, right? Now imagine doing that for 26.2 miles, right? I just can't believe, like, when human beings just fully dedicate this, we're superhuman what we can do. Yeah. And then the reason why that popped in my head, that's an average of 4 minutes and 34 seconds per mile. Almost like Roger Bannister performance for a whole marathon.
Yeah, not just one time.
It's like, holy cow. But it never ceased to amaze me what human beings can do.
Mad props to you and Kelly for taking that on, though, because me and Karen always joke, if we're running, you better run, too, because we're getting chased.
No, it's great. I know I'm going to have to go through some self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah, there's a lot there
physically. We're going to be talking with my subconscious mind a lot about what's going on. Now, you have this amazing formula in life, because a lot of people, have this idea that I can control everything, right? Oh. And you have this amazing formula in life that you share. It's a 3-part formula that really helps people kind of redefine the outcome and kind of look at life differently. You mind sharing that formula, what that is?
And all the work we've been talking up till now takes work. It takes effort. It's 30 minutes a day. This formula is a hack, and you can practice it on the daily, moment to moment. I call it the mathematical equation, and it's not number math, it's letter math, but it's the equation to stay in control in any situation. It's called E plus R equals O. E stands for the events in life, R stands for the reaction to those events, and O stands for the outcome. So let's talk about the events. Part of my challenge in my story was for 40 plus years, I was trying to control events I had zero control over. And at the end of the day, you have to have that really come to Jesus meeting with yourself and say, I don't control anything. The people I love and care about, they do what they want. They don't do what I want. The economy, the customer, I don't control anything. So the second I just step into that, you can take this concept right now. I'm not in control of a lot of the events in my life. What am I in control of? The R. And for most of us, the event happens and subconsciously we react. And what happens when we react? We get a negative outcome. Somebody we love and care about forgets our birthday, and we get upset and think they're an asshole. That's a reaction. We create a negative outcome. Our response is just finding a better thought. And for me, sometimes it might be an imaginary thought, right? Somebody forgets my birthday. I wonder what's going on in their life. I wonder why they're so busy. And then instead of getting mad at them, I send them a text. Hey, you okay? Change the conversation. Road rage. I used to get so frustrated at bad drivers, right? What does that do to them? Nothing.
I'm guilty
They're
of that.
still a bad driver. I just have a frustrating experience, In Salt Lake City, we've had horribly in the last couple of years, a couple young fathers get murdered because of road rage. They get a fight on the freeway. They follow the car off. The car they follow thinks they're, being attacked. Gun shootout in a gas station parking lot. It's like, tell yourself, if that happens, yeah, that was bullshit. That was dangerous. I'm upset. I wonder if they're racing to see their mom at the hospital. I wonder, I don't know what's going on in their life. And that's the way we create a response. And another way I say this is life is never happening to you. It's always happening for you. And the first reaction, even when I went through my stuff, was, God, why? Why are you doing this to me? And with lots of work and lots of study, I now say, thanks, God, for doing that for me, because everything that happens, you can reframe it. It's not to me, it's for me, and that's E plus R equals O. And you practice it. I mean, I have clients that have it tattooed on them now. It's been so impactful in their life. But you practice it. So at first, what's going to happen is an event's going to happen, you're going to react, and an hour later, you're going to say, oh shit, that was one of those E plus R equal moments Shawn was talking about, and I reacted. The good news is you can go back and respond after the fact. Nothing like a nice humble pie apology. Hey, babe, my wife, right? I still react sometimes. I come back later. You know what? That was totally inappropriate. I let my emotions take over. I reacted. I was in the wrong. Will you accept my apology? I just created a better outcome out of reaction. So people practice it, and then you just get better. It's like anything in mindset. We train the mind to look for the response, and then we start to create the response. So
yeah, because I'm venture to guess that almost everyone watching this has an experience they can recall in their life where in the present they thought this is the end of the world, or this very negative, dreadful experience, this tragic event happened.
Yes.
But then if you were to fast forward a year or two later, you realize it happened for you and it sent you on a different path in your life that turned out to be one of your biggest blessings. And this is why I love when you share your story, right? Because that's very much what I see with you and the life you live now.
I'm so grateful for every challenge. I'm so grateful. Yeah. And they were all E plus R equals. And in the moment, my mindset wasn't as good, and I reacted. And I said, why me? And I went into a little bit of a pity party. And then, a friend of mine, amazing, powerful individual, Matt Blanchard, he's a gentleman. He's been paralyzed 2 different times. He's got the best mindset, the best attitude. But he talks about, and he can't run anymore, but he talks about on a track, there's blocks to push off on. And in life, you're going to run into blocks. And are you going to trip on them? And I think about that often. I'm like, the things that used to trip me up are now the things I push off of. In my past, the challenges, when I think back now, they don't trip me. I give thanks for them. And when I give thanks for them, they accelerate me. So it's a choice. You going to trip or you going to get pushed off?
The obstacle is the way, very, very similar to that.
No, and for me, my struggle is now my story, which brings hope, connection. I mean, it's everything, you guys. It's everything. And unfortunately, I believe we do live in a challenging world. We have a lot of negativity out there. The time we live in with technology, there's a lot of negativity, but there's also a lot of good. There's so much. We're so blessed. We have so much opportunity. There's so many good people. But it's up to you.
The good doesn't get the ratings. So.
No.
You don't see it.
No, people want to hear about and again, it's not people, it's their negative programmed mind.
Yeah.
Searching for it. So again, you're going to find what you're looking for. And a new mantra I've adopted is when I hate life, it hates me back. And when I love life, it loves me back. So send out love, throw out what you want, and powerful mind will get you powerful results.
Yeah, you hear the term happy wife, happy life a lot. And I said, it's actually the opposite of this truth. It's happy life, happy wife.
Yes. And at some level, happy dom.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you're happy and healthy and whole.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's funny. When I work in relationships, I work with a lot of brothers, a lot of husband and wives. The funnest part about mindset work is if you called me and said, hey, Shawn, me and Kelly are kind of going through some things. Can you help me with it? I say yes. And then we wouldn't talk about Kelly at all.
Talking about me.
We would talk about you because you are the only thing you control.
Right.
And usually when you shift your self-love, when you reframe how you're thinking about things, you build beautiful connection inside a relationship with the other person, not even being aware that you're doing the changes. Yeah, that's a beautiful part of mindset is we don't control other people, but we definitely affect them.
That's amazing. So if you were to look at, obviously you got a million success stories. Like I said, even just in my little circle that I have, I know so many people you've influenced, impacted for the better. But what are some of your favorite success stories? Or if you want to share one story of someone that was going through some stuff, came to you, obviously got in the right mindset. Of course, it's a commitment, they're ongoing, but then you've seen them kind of transform their lives.
So I have 2 that come to mind right off. The first one is a client of mine. He's been a client for quite a few years. He introduced me to his daughter, and she was 18 years old. She'd had a boating accident in high school when she was, I think, 16 or 17, pretty traumatic boating accident. So you think about an emotional event. And this emotional event had taken an extroverted, happy, healthy young lady and turned her into an introvert. She was seeing doctors. She was seeing therapists. She was afraid to fly. His family travels a lot. She was getting ready to go away to school. She didn't want to go away. She wanted a dog. She was just, her mind had been altered by this emotional event. And so we introduced her to our program. She started doing some work in it. And fast forward, she just graduated from college. She flies all the time. She got her first sales job, became the #1 rep at the sales company in Nashville, Tennessee. She's now relocating to New York, and she's living her best life. And as much as I've helped this client in his business and in his personals, he's forever grateful to me. And I can't take credit. I mean, I'm going to protect privacy, but this young lady I'm going to get emotional. God, she's a powerhouse, but she was trapped in her own mind. She was trapped by these events that happened, and seeing her today, it's like, oh
yeah, thank God.
And I work with a lot of adults. I want to get my work to 18 to 25 year olds because so many of us through early life just get challenged. But yeah, she is one of my #1 success stories. And the crazy thing is she's just getting started. She's actually a stylist. She's working with some celebrities. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
That's amazing.
And then the other one, and again, these are both a little bit emotional, but I had a 60-plus-year-old client that less than 2 years ago, 3 minutes from his house, his beautiful wife was taken from us. Had an auto accident, an impaired driver. Horrible. They were married for 40-plus years, right? He's 63 years old. He'd been doing work with me for a little while. And from day one, he wanted to grieve. He wanted to mourn. But he also had the mindset of, Shawn, I'm 63. I'm going to live to be 100. I've got to rebuild. So I need to process this. I need to work through this. And it's a long story short, but a year after her passing, he held a memorial golf tournament in her honor. He healed very quickly. In fact, him and I had a conversation. He said, Shawn, I don't want to grieve. Is there a better word? And I said, okay, you're not grieving anymore. You're healing. So now I'm healing. He's got a beautiful new woman that's come into his life. He's got a relationship. He's launching a new business. And for me, I think it's a record to really work through, because that was a loss. I mean, it hit him hard. I had some late night calls. I mean, he really, as any of us would, struggled, but he did the mindset work and he gave grace. He felt it. He worked through it, but he used his powerful mind.
Yeah, in a way, like obviously I can't relate to that, but in kind of reframing it, like I got to have over 40 years of my life with this amazing person. Yeah.
Gratitude. Yeah. And you get to take that with you for the rest. I mean, I had the same experience with my beautiful mother. I lost her way too young. She's with me every day and every good memory. And there's some you forget about that. You get to decide. History, high story. All I remember from anything in my past is the good that I can grab. So those are just two. But we have on the financial side, I have a sales rep in the UK that I work with. Everyone in his company, and he's the only one that I usually work with companies. He joined by himself. He paid. He's literally on a different time zone. He helps on my morning call in the evening. Everybody in his company said nobody can sell $2 million here. It's never been done. They have
why? I don't get that.
He sold $2 million
last year.
Why
Why would people say that out loud?
Because
they obviously
it's a paradigm.
It's crazy.
And even when he started with me, he's like, Shawn, all the people on your call, their ticket size is bigger. I just don't know how it's possible. I said, forget about the how, man. Just say it's possible. And Ozzy, if you ever hear this, Ozzy's my rep I work with. Like you may have talked to him before. He's pretty active on social media, but and now he's going for $3 million.
That's
like
amazing.
Once he broke it.
Yeah.
And again, story, weight loss. I have a sales team that lost about 1,000 pounds between them.
Oh man.
Just by thinking. Obviously they did action and made some behavioral corrections, but it started with the mindset. It started with what's possible. So yeah.
That's incredible. And just to see how emotional you get, it just shows like how much you care and are committed to the betterment of your customer, your clients,
I do this professionally, but I don't do it for the money. I focus on the people, and the more people I help, I don't have to worry about the money. It just takes care of itself. And that's a belief that took me a long time. I was programmed that you have to work hard for money, that you have to scrap for everything. And when I've leaned into my spirituality and knowing that I'm always provided for, and then just doing good work every day, the money always, with in-home sales reps, if they focus on the customer and serving the customer, they're going to make more commissions than they ever thought possible.
This is why, obviously we're similar in what we do. Obviously we provide coaching and we provide guidance and we have systems and we help, people better their lives. But always summarize it. Like, I literally get to make a living changing people's lives.
Yes.
And it's like, that is such the biggest blessing of all time. That's why, like, I will do this forever. Same. And I love what I do. Like,
I'm not retired.
I never, it's like, do what you love and call it work. I never feel like I'm going to work. Yeah. It's like, I have the opportunity to pay forward this gift to change my life to as many people as possible. And I know it's going to change their life for the better.
That's what I love is Rick Grosso gave you this tool, and Bob Proctor gave me this tool, and we're both in best practice with best mindset, gives you the best results. And even we do this to help the reps. The reps, I shared that with them. They're helping people with their number one investment, their home. And they should love what they do because they're having a positive impact. People bring babies home. They celebrate anniversaries, birthdays. And if you replace their windows, give them a new bathroom, make their home safer, more energy efficient. That's beautiful work too.
It is.
That's why we both work in this industry too.
That's why I like the trickle down impact of every person you help coach and serve and get them in the right mind. It's crazy the impact it has. You know, if you could somehow quantify that, it'd be interesting. But it's like the Leonidas here. This summarizes both Grosso and Shawn Feurer Consulting, right? You got the Spartan and you got the shield here, right?
My logo's a shield. That's why I love Grosso and SFC have some good synergy together. We really do.
No, it's awesome.
Collaborative energy, and I appreciate you, man.
Well, I appreciate you. I just want to say, you know, I'm always grateful to have you at our events. I'm obviously super grateful to have you at our podcast, and you definitely impacted so many lives today.
I love saying I'm the mindset coach that makes grown men cry.
Yeah. And it's just so beautiful to watch you, though, in your element, and people pull you aside. I know we're going to have lunch here in a little bit. All kinds of people are going to want to talk to you. Yeah. But if people want to connect with you directly and learn more about how to reprogram their mindset, turn thinking into results, what's the best way to reach you?
I mean, the first thing I would just ask is I give a lot of information. Find me and follow me on social media. Shawn Feurer, it's ShawnFeurer. There's only one Shawn Feurer. So we have our podcast on YouTube, our social medias, and then my website is ShawnFeurer.com. On there's a contact form. You can schedule a free strategy session, hop on, talk some mindset, and see if our program is a fit for you. And again, I can help anybody. You got to want to change. You got to want to get better mindset. But I promise you, this is some of the most important and best work you'll ever do.
So obviously, in the spirit of this being the Profits for Sanity podcast, one of the last questions I want to ask is, why do the owners or sales professionals or leaders watching this, anybody watching this, why do they deserve to run a profitable business? And why does that matter?
Oh, I mean, this might be cheesy if you don't believe this. Number one, you're worth it. You deserve it. I mean, for a business owner, you took the risk. Your ass is on the line. Every single day, you have liability for these employees, for these workers, for these projects, and you're adding a valuable service. So my question would be, who are you not to deserve the abundance that comes with it? And the other thing, profit. Like, profit is a dirty word, and especially in our industry. I mean, you look in other industries that are charging way bigger markups. I mean, the price I pay for a Coke somewhere or a cup of coffee somewhere, it's like, gosh, if we could just get these kind of margins in home improvements, we'd all be wealthy. But the highest priced contractors I work with, they're not high price, they're high value, they're the right price. If you provide a service that's professional, that's quality, who are you not to deserve to make money on it? And who are you not to be able to support your family? I mean, you are sacrificing a lot of time, a lot of energy. And I guess the number one answer is you're worth it, man. You are worth it.
Yeah. And what I find is the most profitable companies contribute the most and have the biggest impact on their community. And obviously they provide better service, and they're actually going to be around to take care of the homeowner in the future.
But in order to take care of your employees, in order to have enough money to donate to causes, you got to charge the right price. You know, if you have little to no net profit, you're not helping anybody, and you're not even helping yourself. And the most profitable companies I work with, they all give back. I mean, part of the mindset work is, what do you want and what are you willing to give? And Dom and I both give our time, give our services freely. Do the same in your home improvement. I mean, I love Brian Gottlieb's been good with giving back to the community with his businesses before he sold. And he's now inspired a bunch of my business owners that are putting together programs for veterans, programs for homeless, the misfortunate that run into struggle. And it's really fun to see high-level organizations take income, take profit, distribute some to themselves, but then give some back to the communities that allowed them to be profitable. So
absolutely amazing. Well, I really love the message, and obviously, I think it brings some people to tears. So, in Profits or Sanity fashion, I do have the money gun. I need you to hold that.
Okay.
So I'm going to do an unfinished statement. So obviously,
I've never used this thing before. I better be careful.
Yeah, we got the Profits for Sanity podcast. So as all of you know, in the world of business, volume is for vanity, and profit is for
sanity.
All right, there we go.
We're making it rain in here, $100 bills. And, I imagined this morning that I was in a room with a bunch of $100 bills.
Oh, there you go. There we go.
No idea.
So I just want to thank you, Shawn, one more time.
You.
And thanks to all of you for taking time out of your day to watch this amazing episode of the Profits for Sanity podcast. We know there's 1.5 billion shows out there you could be watching. Hopefully you took away pages and notes. Make sure you contact Shawn Feurer right away if you're ready to truly level up and ignite the greatness within. So appreciate your time on the Profits for Sanity podcast. And as always, yes, you are a closer, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, you are. Thank you.